At the beginning of the film, a man tells the story of Shatcharangabart, a group of brave and resilient warriors whose courage and strength were admired by many. He explains that the Shatcharangabart warriors were first formed in 1605, after the Thai army suffered a great defeat due to the loss of many war elephants. Their main purpose was to protect and care for the elephants. For this reason, they developed a brutal martial art called Muay Thai. Hearing this story, his son Cam becomes interested and expresses his desire to become one of them. He also forms a close bond with a male elephant named Poachers. In the next scene, Poachers is seen walking into the forest with a female elephant. Cam, seeing this, becomes worried, thinking that his friend is leaving him, but his father reassures him, saying that Poachers will surely return. Several years later, Poachers and the female elephant have a healthy baby named Corn. Meanwhile, Cam has grown into a strong Shatcharangabart warrior. One day, while Corn is grazing in the field, a group of poachers approaches him. However, before they can capture him, Poachers and the female elephant come to the rescue. When the poachers flee, one of them accidentally shoots the female elephant, killing her and leaving Corn without a mother. Cam is deeply saddened but vows to protect both Poachers and Corn with all his strength. A few weeks later, as Cam is with Corn, his father arrives and explains the importance of strong elephants. He reveals that the best elephants in the land will be chosen to be handed over to the king. For this reason, a rigorous selection process is held, and only the strongest elephants will pass. In the next scene, Cam's village begins preparing for the annual Songkran festival. Meanwhile, a local parliament member named Tuan Suthep is hosting a large party to celebrate his success in joining the new Thai government. Word spreads that, during this festival, elephants will be inspected to choose those worthy of becoming royal elephants. A local woman urges Cam to bring his elephants for the selection. Initially hesitant, as he does not want to be separated from Poachers and Corn, Cam eventually agrees, feeling it is the right thing to do. He also apologizes to Poachers if they are not able to meet Corn again. On the day of the festival, Cam and his father bring Poachers to meet Tuan Suthep and his son, Koi. However, Koi behaves strangely. He tells Cam to wait outside while he takes Poachers and Cam's father into a garden where other elephants are gathered. Meanwhile, Cam wanders around the market with Corn and buys a small bell for the young elephant. They also enjoy a game of blindfolded boxing. However, as Cam becomes absorbed in the game, Corn follows a group of naughty children and gets lost. Back in the garden, one of Suthep's men asks Cam's father to sign a document that he doesn't understand and orders him to go home. Realizing something is wrong, Cam's father refuses and attacks Koi. But Koi, now furious, shoots and kills his father. Seeing this, Poachers goes into a rage and chases after Koi and his men. In the chaos, the poachers manage to drug Poachers and take both elephants away. Cam eventually finds his father dying. With his last breath, his father tells Cam about Poachers' fate. Meanwhile, Poachers, still enraged, chases the poachers across the city, but the poachers manage to knock him unconscious with tranquilizers and take both elephants away. Several days later, after Cam's father passes away, they hold a traditional ceremony to find lost souls. In the following scene, Cam manages to track down Koi and storms their headquarters on a boat. The thugs attack him, and a fierce fight ensues. Despite being outnumbered, Cam defeats the criminals. When Koi tries to shoot him, Cam easily takes his gun and forces him to reveal that both elephants are now in the hands of Johnny, a Vietnamese gangster working for a Thai restaurant owner named Tom Yum Goong in Sydney, Australia. As Cam prepares to travel to Australia, Tuan Suthep appears and sends his men to pursue Cam by land and sea. However, Cam manages to evade them and even sinks one of their boats with a helicopter. Two weeks pass. News about the elephants being shipped to Australia spreads, sparking protests from animal rights activists. Meanwhile, the owner of the Tom Yum restaurant, Tuan Wathea Samarat, is found dead. It is suspected he was killed due to his involvement in a Chinese mafia syndicate and various illegal activities, causing business conflicts. The film shifts to Sydney, where two police officers, Mark, of Thai-Australian descent, and his partner Rick, are being filmed for a documentary. Mark works in an Asian neighborhood and knows almost everyone there, including the thieves. Elsewhere, a Thai student named PLA is being threatened by thugs. It turns out that PLA is the girlfriend of the late Tuan Wathea and is now being forced to become a prostitute to pay off her boyfriend's debt. Meanwhile, a transgender member of the Chinese gang named Madame Rose is having a discussion with her uncle, Tuan Sim, who is also the leader of the gang. Rose wants to become the head of gang security, but Tuan Sim refuses and tells her to manage the restaurant instead, which disappoints Rose. Cam finally arrives in Sydney. He takes a taxi driven by Jimmy, but suddenly they are chased by several police cars. It turns out Jimmy is a thief pretending to be a taxi driver. Mark and Rick join the chase and eventually corner Jimmy. Jimmy tries to take Cam hostage, but Cam manages to neutralize him without the help of the police. Suddenly, Inspector Vincent arrives and shoots Jimmy dead.
Face off! Hey, let's talk, okay? Talk! I give up! Now go get him!
It turns out Vincent had been following Cam since the airport. He even tries to kill Cam, but misses, and Cam manages to escape. Mark, who is confused, asks Vincent about this, but Vincent claims that Cam is not a hostage and orders Mark and Rick to arrest him. They comply and successfully bring Cam to the police car. On the way, Cam tells them that he is looking for his relatives, though he means the elephants. They stop at the Tom Yum Goong restaurant to meet Mark's acquaintance. From inside the car, Cam sees Johnny and becomes uneasy. He asks for Johnny to be arrested, but Mark cannot do anything because Cam has no evidence. Cam eventually causes a car accident and escapes, then follows Johnny to a bridge where Johnny meets PLA. He demands Johnny return his elephants, but Johnny just tells his men to attack Cam. A fight breaks out, and once again, Cam emerges victorious. Cam then forces one of Johnny's men to take him to their hideout, and another massive fight ensues. This time, Johnny calls in a group of extreme athletes to fight Cam, but Cam still prevails. He becomes exhausted and falls asleep in an alley, but fortunately, PLA passes by, saves him, and takes him to her apartment. Meanwhile, Mark and Rick are removed from the case for allowing Cam to escape. They are now assigned to assist Vincent in securing a meeting between the police commissioner and Tuan Sim. PLA, it turns out, is one of the dancers at this event. When the commissioner gets too excited and tries to take his medication, a man with a gun enters and shoots everyone except PLA. Mark and Rick enter the room after hearing the gunshots. Vincent arrives and shoots the shooter before he can say anything. Then, Vincent suddenly shoots Rick and accuses Mark of being the one responsible. He orders his men to arrest Mark, but Mark manages to escape. This event is recorded by the commissioner's camera, and after Vincent and his men leave, PLA takes the camera and runs away. Vincent then sets a trap for Mark with the help of a woman in his circle. However, when they try to capture Mark, they realize that PLA is still alive and has the important footage. After a brief chase, PLA is captured, but Cam comes to her rescue, saving her from the corrupt police. After that, PLA tells Cam about a VIP room in the Tom Yum Goong restaurant. Cam heads there directly, fighting many enemies until he reaches the dining room upstairs. There, he demands his elephants, but Johnny and his men just laugh at him while dangling Corn's bell. Cam then sees the corpses of various rare animals and realizes that, most likely, his elephants have been served as food. Furious, Cam attacks Vincent and his men. After winning, he goes to the storage room and finds many rare animals being skinned. He nearly loses hope until he finally discovers Mark tied up in a room. Just as he is about to free him, Cam finds Korn still alive. Overjoyed, they escape in a truck just before the police arrive. Meanwhile, PLA can only watch them leave from a distance. Elsewhere, Madame Rose poisons 2 of her competitors to take over the gang leadership position. News about the restaurant serving rare animal meat spreads, and the police shut down the place. Vincent, feeling betrayed by Johnny, tracks down Cam and Mark, who are hiding in a Buddhist temple. To protect the temple, they decide to leave. But shortly after they depart, the temple is set on fire. Cam and Mark return to help, and Cam must fight 3 hired killers, a capoeira expert, a wushu fighter, and TK, a giant wrestler. He manages to defeat the first 2, but TK is too strong. Just when Cam is about to lose, the police arrive, and Mark helps him escape. Meanwhile, PLA gives the camera footage to Mark's superior, proving that Vincent is the real killer. The next morning, Cam and Korn go to find Madame Rose, who is holding a press conference. Korn barges in and creates chaos, while Cam fights the gangsters. Mark himself manages to capture Vincent, but Johnny arrives and shoots him dead as revenge. Cam then finds a large room where poor Yai's skeleton is being displayed, adorned with jewelry for Madame Rose. He is deeply saddened and remembers the time spent with poor Yai. However, Rose's men attack him. Filled with rage, Cam fights brutally, breaking his attacker's arms and legs. Rose then calls in TK and 3 other fighters. Cam struggles, but he realizes that the veins in the legs are weak points, and he uses poor Yai's tusks to incapacitate his opponents by cutting their veins. He also manages to prevent Madame Rose's escape via helicopter, and they both fall into the room below. Fortunately, Cam survives as he lands on poor Yai's tusks. In the lobby, Mark meets his superior, Inspector Lamond, who finally forgives him and gives him a new partner who speaks Thai. At the end of the film, Mark's narration is heard, showing Cam's childhood. Mark explains that Thai people treat elephants like family and despise anyone who harms them. They are peaceful, but will not remain silent if their dignity is violated. The film closes with Cam embracing his true friend, Korn. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy, hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice just to be sure. You should watch the full movie. Thank you very much for watching.